At the year-end company open bar party, everyone was celebrating the successful delivery of Project Apex. As I walked up to the front to speak amid the cheers, Susan Myers, the senior director of engineering, suddenly snatched the microphone from my hand. Smiling, she deleted my name from the project lead section on the Google Slides and replaced it with her own.
Don't get the wrong idea, everyone. Brandon just helped me with some grunt work. The core architecture of this project, I built all of it, pulling all-nighters on my own. Brandon, you're still young. Plenty of opportunities ahead of you. As for this 150,000 performance bonus and the promotion slot, I'll be taking those.
She looked at me defiantly. The colleagues around us shot me sympathetic glances, but no one said a word. Someone leaned toward the person next to them and muttered, "Jesus, no class at all." Others laughed at how pathetic I was, a grown man taking this lying down. I didn't argue. I didn't make a scene. I just quietly stepped back. With both hands, I presented the Project Apex technical ownership and accountability agreement.
Susan, you're right. The most capable should carry the heaviest load. The final sign-off on the project, that should be yours too.
Susan smiled, took the agreement, flipped to the last page, and signed her name without hesitation. Susan Myers. The party music hadn't even stopped, and Susan was already barging into my office with a few of her people.
Brandon, since you're just a grunt, you don't deserve this corner office anymore.
She directed them to throw my things haphazardly into cardboard boxes.
The hot desking banks to the server room has pretty fast internet. Go stalk there. Not like you have anything to do anyway.
I watched as she casually tossed my mechanical keyboard and noise-canceling headphones into the trash.
Miss Myers, was it really necessary to go this far?
Susan let out a scoff, her bright red manicured nail poking into my chest.
Go this far? This is just how the workplace works. You're a nobody. You're easy prey. Deal with it.
Right at that moment, the company-wide email notification chimed across the entire floor. The official commendation had come down. Susan Myers had been credited with all of Project Apex's achievements. Not only did she receive the $150,000 bonus, she was also formally nominated as the candidate for VP of Engineering. The same colleagues who had just been giving me sympathetic looks instantly changed their tune.
Congrats, Susan! Well deserved!
See, I told you, this project had to be led by Myers. Hale never had the chops for it.
Everyone crowded around Susan, handing her Starbucks and croissants, flooding the Slack channel with flattery, lifting her up while stepping all over me. Susan glanced at me smugly and announced loudly,
"Drinks are on me tonight at the bar across the street. Everyone's invited."
She made a point of walking up to me and slamming a steaming latte down on the corner of my desk. The coffee splashed out and scalded the back of my hand red.
"Brandon, you can sit this one out. Have some coffee. Don't take it personally."
A burst of laughter erupted around me. I didn't say anything. I just quietly wiped the coffee off my hand. I pulled out my phone and posted an all-hands message to the department Slack channel. "Congrats to Susan on the promotion. Coffee and pastries on me this afternoon. Order up." Then I placed a group order on Uber Eats. Starbucks coffee and croissants from that trendy bakery down the street, delivered straight to the office. About $200. When the delivery driver wheeled in a cart piled high with everything, the entire office erupted. Colleagues swarmed over to grab coffee, and the Slack channel instantly flooded with,
Thanks, Hale!
And you're the real MVP.
Susan held her latte, a trace of smugness curling at the corner of her mouth.
Wise choice.
Then she condescendingly warned me,
As long as you keep your mouth shut and do as you're told from now on, there'll be something in it for you.
I nodded immediately, putting on a face full of fawning obedience.
Don't worry, I'll do exactly as I'm told. Oh, by the way, here's the final project handover checklist. All the technical details are in here. Just need your signature.
I handed over a thick stack of documents, dense with complex parameters and interface specifications. Susan didn't even glance at it, too absorbed in the joy of her promotion. She picked up the pen and quickly signed her name.
All right, don't bother me with trivial stuff like this anymore. I'm the one making strategic decisions now.
Looking at that scribbled signature, I lower my head, the corner of my mouth curling into a faint, imperceptible cold smile. That was no ordinary handover checklist. It was ironclad proof that pinned all responsibility on her, in black and white, impossible to deny. With that signature, any problem with Project Apex from now on would be her responsibility and hers alone. Susan's good days didn't even last 2 days before trouble came knocking. Whitford Capital suddenly sent an email requesting an additional hiking currency stress test, and they specifically demanded that the project lead present it in person. Susan stared at the red error codes on the screen, her eyes practically popping out of their sockets. Code? She couldn't write a single line of code. She didn't even know how to open the terminal, relying entirely on reading from Google Slides. She came rushing to the hot desking bench next to the server room to find me, her heels clicking sharply against the floor.
Brandon, write me an automated demo script.
Her tone was as demanding as ever, as if this was my actual job. Completely forgetting how she had humiliated me just 2 days ago, I kept typing at my keyboard, not even lifting my head, my fingers flying across the screen, churning out line after line of code.
Mrs. Myers, I'm just a grunt around here now. You revoked all my core team access. Even if I wanted to help, I can't.
Susan got worked up and slammed her hand on my keyboard so hard that the keys flew off.
Cut the crap! I'll give you temporary access. If you can't handle this simple thing, believe me, I'll have you out of here right now.
The colleagues around us turned their heads, their eyes full of schadenfreude, waiting to see me embarrass myself. I pretended to flinch, standing up with hunched shoulders, my voice shaky.
Don't fire me. I still have student loans to pay off.
Seeing her intimidation had worked, Susan's expression softened a bit. She pulled 2 stacks of cash from her bag and tossed them onto the desk.
$3,000. Get it done. The money's yours. If not, pack your things and get out.
I stared at the $3,000, swallowed hard, and put on a show of being greedy for the money, my hands even trembling.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Myers. I'll write it right now, right away.
I accepted the temporary access and wrote a script as fast as I could, except deep within the code, in the underlying logic she could never understand. I planted a little surprise, a surprise that would trigger only at a specific time. After getting the script from me, Susan gave a very successful demo at the department meeting. Watching the data run smoothly on the big screen, the CTO nodded repeatedly, praising Susan as a rare all-around talent. Susan was glowing, basking in the adulation of everyone around her, so happy that her foundation was starting to cake. After the meeting, she came back with a few people and snatched the $3,000 back. And under the pretext of project confidentiality, she had IT come and completely wipe my computer.
Brandon, it's not that I don't trust you. Standard security protocol. You understand. I've deleted all these backups and logs to prevent any leaks. After all, this is the company's core proprietary information.
She looked down at me as if I were a piece of junk that had outlived its usefulness.
As for the $3,000, I'll circle back on that. End of year. Maybe.
With that, she clicked away in her high heels, hips swaying, without so much as a proper glance at me. I looked at the completely empty computer screen, and instead of getting angry, I almost laughed out loud. Go ahead, wipe it. The cleaner the better. She had personally destroyed the only evidence that could prove her innocence. She'd burned every escape route she had. Now, not even her guardian angel could save her. The day that $150,000 bonus hit her account, Susan picked up the red Porsche Taycan. She deliberately parked it in the most conspicuous spot, right at the company entrance, afraid someone might miss it. She even spent half an hour posing for photos next to it. On her Instagram story, she showed off the steering wheel and that Hermes Birkin bag. The post also featured the cover of the Project Apex Technical Ownership and Accountability Agreement. The caption read, "Heavy is the head that wears the crown. All the hard work deserves to be seen." Beneath it was a flood of likes and comments from colleagues, fawning over her like lapdogs. I scrolled past that story while sitting in the office kitchenette eating instant ramen, the whole room smelling like chicken flavor. The female colleague next to me was touching up her makeup and mocking me, loud enough to make sure I heard.
Oh my God, some people are just born to be worker bees. Look at Susan. Now that's a queen, a real winner.
Exactly. If you don't have the skills, don't cry when someone else takes the credit. It's a dog-eat-dog world. If you lose, you lose.
When you're winning, they step on you. When you're losing, they step on you too. The same people who used to call me Brandon and mooch off me for food and drinks were now trampling all over me just to suck up to Susan. Just then, the CTO's assistant rushed in to drop a bombshell announcement.
Next Monday, Richard Shaw from HQ in New York is coming to inspect in person. He specifically wants to see Project Apex's live data performance.
The entire company immediately erupted. Richard Shaw, the man who truly held the power of life and death, the one whose single word could decide the fate of the entire branch. When Susan heard the news, she got so excited her face turned red and she nearly spilled her coffee. To prove how hands-on she was, she flat out refused any offers of assistance from others in the engineering department.
No one else touches this. This project is like my child. I know it best. Nobody lays a finger on it. I'll personally present to Richard. I'll show HQ what I'm made of. This VP position is mine.
She ran into me in the kitchenette and made a point of stopping, fanning the air with disgust as if I were a walking germ.
Ugh, reeks of broken here. Living large on instant ramen, are we? See, Brandon, the project runs just fine without you. You're a replaceable part. Don't overestimate your own importance.
She looked down at the instant ramen in my hand, contempt practically spilling out of her eyes. I slurped up a mouthful of noodles and drank the broth clean, not a drop left. Then I lifted my head and put on a face full of ingratiating smiles.
Susan, you're absolutely right. I'm just a part. You're the queen. Hope you crush it next week. And don't forget to bring your little brother along for the ride.
Susan gave a cold hoof, turned on her heel, and left, the sound of her heels as grating as ever.
At least you know your place.
Late at night, my phone buzzed, its screen glaring harshly in the darkness. It was a voice message from Susan. Her tone was as bossy and commanding as ever.
Write a speech for me by tomorrow morning. The focus should be on my innovative thinking and the details of how I pulled all-nighters to crack the problems. None of that boring code stuff. Make it sound impressive. If it's not good enough, you can wait for your termination letter. Don't blame me for being ruthless.
Listening to the voice message, a cold smirk curled on my lips. I tapped lightly on the screen. I replied with a single word, "Got it." The day before the inspection, right before the end of the workday, Susan's face suddenly changed. With HR manager Angela Cross in tow, she cornered me right at my desk, holding a document that had clearly been printed well in advance.
Brandon Hale, it has been verified that you have been slacking off during work hours with a poor attitude, severely impacting team morale.
Susan flung a separation agreement in my face, the edge of the paper cutting my cheek sharply.
Sign it, now, right now. Get lost. I've already had someone pack your things for you.
Absolute dead silence all around me. No one dared speak up for me. Looking at Susan's face, twisted with excitement, I instantly understood her intentions. She was done using me, and now she was getting rid of me. Tomorrow was the CTO's inspection. She was afraid I might say something damaging about her, steal her spotlight, or cause some kind of disruption. So, in this moment, she wanted to kick me out of the company completely to keep me from becoming a threat.
Miss Myers, is it really necessary to go this far? I just finished writing your speech for you.
I picked up the agreement from the floor, my voice trembling slightly, feigning disbelief, my eyes even reddening. Susan sneered, crossing her arms over her chest, her eyes full of venom.
Cut the crap. Don't think I don't know what's going on in your head. Keeping you here is a ticking time bomb. I can't sleep at night knowing you're around. Get out now. Don't make me call security to throw you out. That would just make things ugly for everyone.
I took a deep breath, picked up the pen, and signed my name on the agreement.
Fine, I'll go.
While packing my things, I deliberately placed a black USB drive in the most conspicuous spot.
This is the final project documentation and encryption key backup. It's all in here. Don't lose it.
Susan snatched the USB drive, plugged it warily into her computer, and checked it. Seeing that all the directories and files were there, she finally breathed a sigh of relief, a victor smile appearing on her face.
You've got some sense after all. Don't let me see you in this industry again, or I'll find a way to make sure you can't get work anywhere.
Carrying my cardboard box, I walked toward the elevator under everyone's gaze. Passing by Susan's workstation, I paused in my steps. I watched as she directed someone to project the PowerPoint from the USB drive onto the big screen in the conference room for a test run, her face full of pride. I suddenly leaned in close to her, lowering my voice so only the two of us could hear.
Mrs. Myers, a friendly heads up, so you don't say I didn't hand things over properly. That core algorithm's license expires at midnight tonight. Remember to renew.
Susan was busy adjusting the font on the PowerPoint. She rolled her eyes dismissively without even turning her head.
Stop trying to scare me with all your tech jargon. This project is already delivered. What expiration date? You trying to squeeze money out of me? Get lost already. Just hearing your voice annoys me.
I shrugged, turned around, and stepped into the elevator. The moment I stepped out of the company entrance with my cardboard box, the cold wind hit my face, but I felt an incomparable sense of exhilaration. I took out my phone. On the screen was a red countdown button. That was the remote control for the trial version kernel of Project Apex. I glanced back at the brightly lit building, a smile curling at the corner of my mouth. Susan, since you wanted this project so badly, let me give you a gift you'll never forget for the rest of your life. I pressed the red button, remote deactivation. A line of small text popped up on the screen. Command sent. Core components will self-destruct in 12 hours. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. The time Richard Shaw's inspection begins. The time Susan Myers goes down in flames. Since she loves stealing credits so much, I'll end her career with my own hands. On inspection day, the company lobby was set up with welcome boards for Richard Shaw, and a receptionist had changed into a crisp new suit. Susan wore a borrowed haute couture dress and had even hired a makeup artist to do touch-ups. Anyone who didn't know better would have thought she was walking the Oscars red carpet today. She stood at the entrance, smiling even brighter than the flowers on the welcome board. She even insisted on opening the car door, for Richard Shaw herself, bending so low she almost touched the ground. Richard Shaw walked into the conference room, surrounded by an entourage, his presence commanding. Susan clicked up to the podium in her high heels and opened Google Slides. She began to recount how she worked day and night to overcome obstacles.
For this core algorithm, I pulled 3 consecutive all-nighters. I lost clumps of hair. I couldn't even spare time to eat or sleep.
At the most emotional part, she even squeezed out a few tears, dabbing the corner of her eye gently with a tissue, careful not to ruin her eye makeup. Her voice choked up. Her performance was Oscar-worthy.
It was hard, but the moment I saw the project come to life, I knew it was all worth it. For this company, I'm willing to give everything.
The administrative assistant in the audience was moved to tears and clapped furiously for her. Richard nodded repeatedly, his eyes full of approval, and turned to his assistant beside him.
This is exactly the kind of execution we need. For the VP role, she's the perfect candidate.
Susan heard it and couldn't suppress the corners of her mouth from curling up. David Kessler, the representative from Whitford Capital, was a rigorous tech stickler.
Mrs. Myers, the slides are very pretty, but we're more interested in seeing the live data dashboard. After all, algorithm stability is what matters most. Pretty words are easy. Data doesn't lie.
Susan switched screens confidently, twirling the remote in her hand rapidly.
No problem. Our system stability is top tier in the industry. It can absolutely withstand any test. Please, take a look.
On the big screen, the system loading screen appeared smoothly. The progress bar filled up rapidly, and the green indicator light blinked steadily. Susan glanced back at Richard with a got this look, her face overflowing with smug satisfaction, as if that $150,000 bonus was about to double. The data bar charts on the big screen started bouncing wildly. Red and green lines intertwined, looking highly high-tech. Susan pointed at the screen, straightened her back, and started talking absolute nonsense with a straight face.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you're looking at is our proprietary AI algorithm engine, capable of auto-balancing loads and processing data at the billion level.
Susan spread her arms wide, basking in the room's applause with a glowing face. I sat in the cafe across from the company, watching the real-time footage on my phone screen. The corner of my mouth curled slightly. I silently counted down from 3. A massive red warning box suddenly popped up in the center of the screen, accompanied by a piercing beep beep alarm that exploded in everyone's ears. Everyone was stunned. The conference room went silent, except for the blaring alarm. Richard's smile froze. The muscles at the corner of his mouth twitched. His coffee cup stopped midair, the coffee spilling out and scalding his hand without him even reacting. Susan froze for a second, her smile instantly petrified on her face. Then she frantically scrambled to click the close button.
Oh, that's probably just a false positive from the anti-VOSIC software. Don't worry, everyone. IT does this kind of thing all the time. I'll deal with them later.
As she forced out this explanation, she clicked the mouse frantically, the clicking sounds loud and rapid, beads of sweat forming on her forehead and running down her cheeks, streaking her foundation. But the more she clicked, the more pop-ups appeared, dense windows spreading like a virus across the entire screen, completely covering even the beautiful Google Slides. Then a second, even more fatal pop-up appeared, red background with black text, shocking and bolded. Susan completely panicked. The remote in her hand dropped to the ground, shattering into pieces, parts bouncing everywhere.
What is going on? Who touched my computer? Did someone hack in?
She tried to force restart the system, even bending down to unplug the power cord and plug it back in, looking as frantic as a madwoman. But the boot screen no longer showed the company logo. Instead, it changed to a massive, scrolling line of text. The text was terrifyingly large and piercingly red, as if mocking her incompetence. Then, through the conference room speakers, Susan's familiar voice rang out at maximum volume. It was the voice message she had sent me a few days ago.
I don't need to understand code. I just need results. Just grab some random open source stuff and ship it. The boss doesn't understand it anyway, and the client won't check it carefully. As long as it runs, it's fine. We split the money we save. Nobody complain about the cut.
This recording echoed through the vast conference room, over and over, crystal clear, carrying her
Just
unmistakable
grab some
arrogance
random
and
open source
greed.
stuff and ship it. The boss doesn't understand it anyway.
Susan's face instantly turned deathly pale. Her lips trembled, unable to utter a word. As if the bones had been ripped from her body, she collapsed limply on the podium. Richard's face was livid with rage, the veins on his forehead bulging. David Kessler slammed his folder heavily on the table.
This is your professionalism? This is a joke!
Dead silence filled the room, only the recording still playing tirelessly on loop, like slap after slap across Susan's face. This was her so-called working day and night to overcome obstacles. This was her so-called proprietary algorithm. In this moment, all the glamour was torn to shreds. Richard slammed his hand on the table and shot to his feet. The solid wood conference table shook with a thunderous bang, and the coffee cups on it toppled over. Coffee spilled across the table, but no one dared to wipe it up.
This is your proprietary algorithm? This is the result of your all-nighters?
He pointed at Susan's nose, his finger trembling with rage, spittle flying onto her face.
What do you take this company for? Do you take us all for fools? Where is your professional integrity?
Susan was completely unhinged. Tears and snot streamed down her face, smearing her carefully applied makeup into a mess. She looked both pathetic and ridiculous. She looked around frantically like a madwoman, finally pointing at Marcus Webb in the audience and shrieking.
It's them! They set me up! Engineering gave me the wrong version. They're jealous I was getting promoted. I'm being framed. Richard, you have to believe me. I would never dare deceive the company.
Marcus was already furious. At this point, he stood up directly, his chair scraping against the floor with a harsh screech. With a cold expression, he opened his laptop flat on the table, displaying the detailed back-end operation logs.
Miss Myers, you need evidence for your claims. All code commit records are from your account, and the IP addresses are from your office. To prevent anyone from commit under someone else's name, you personally revoked all write permissions. We only have read access. We couldn't even change a single punctuation mark. These code files were absolutely committed by you. It couldn't have been anyone else.
The evidence was so clear. She had no more excuses to hide behind. David Kessler let out a cold laugh, stood up and straightened his suit, his eyes full of contempt.
It appears Novatech has serious integrity issues. This kind of a fraudulent behavior is something we cannot tolerate. The contract is terminated. Expect a formal notice of legal action. We will pursue this to the fullest extent and report this throughout the industry.
With that, David Kessler and the Whitford Capital team stormed out without looking back, slamming the door behind them. Richard was apoplectic. He grabbed a coffee cup from the table and smashed it to the ground, ceramic shards scattering everywhere. He pointed at Susan and roared.
You've destroyed this company. The penalty is more than you could ever repay in your lifetime.
Susan broke down crying, then suddenly remembered something, a vicious glint flashing in her eyes.
It's Brandon! It was Brandon Hale who set me up! He's the one who wrote the code! He tampered with it! I'm gonna sue him! He's the one who ruined me!
She frantically pulled out her phone to dial my number, her fingers trembling so much she almost hit the wrong keys, and she put it on speakerphone, trying to pin it all on me. The call connected. My lazy voice filled the room, carrying a bit of sleepy raspiness and the sound of crunching chips.
Hello?
Susan screamed into the phone, her voice shrill and piercing.
Brandon, you bastard! Did you rig the code? You're dead!
I let out a light laugh. My tone, so calm, was infuriating.
Mrs. Myers, you need evidence to back that up. I've already left the company. I'm a free man now. The exit handoffer form states it clearly. The project is fully your responsibility, and the code was reviewed and approved by you. You signed it pretty quickly back then. Didn't even bother to look. What, now you want to pin it on me?
Susan was hysterical on the phone, her voice cracking, sounding like nails on a chalkboard, so harsh it hurt the eardrums.
You set me up. You deliberately gave me bad code. I'm calling the police! I'll have you sent to prison!
Calmly into the phone, my voice carrying clearly to everyone's ears, unhurried, as if telling someone else's story.
Mrs. Myers, stop the theatrics. The Project Apex technical ownership and accountability agreement is right there in black and white. The developer guarantees all code is original. Didn't you say you built the core architecture yourself, pulling all-nighters? How are you pinning this on me now? The logic doesn't hold.
Richard snatched Susan's phone and shouted at me, so loud it rattled the ears.
Brandon Hale, what exactly do you know? Explain yourself.
I paused deliberately, took a sip of water, and in a helpful tone, advised.
Richard, you could have audit check Susan's expense reports from last week. That can't be tampered with. Finance would find out with just a quick look. That so-called proprietary algorithm, the core, is indeed the trial version I wrote.
Just grab some random open source stuff.
Otherwise, how would it play Susan's voice accurately? But Susan must have forgotten that the company approved an $8,000 software licensing budget for her to purchase the genuine license. To pocket that money, she forced me to write the code for free, while also finding a shell vendor to issue a fake $8,000 invoice to embezzle the cash. That shell company specializes in issuing fake invoices for money laundering. To steal that $8,000, she skipped the genuine license verification entirely and directly used my trial version code. By the way, her reimbursement form says $8,000, but she actually only spent $500 to buy the fake invoice. The remaining $7,500 all went straight into her own pocket.
These words were like a bombshell that completely blew up the entire room. Everyone gasped, their eyes filled with utter disbelief. So Project Apex wasn't just about stolen credit. It was a total sham job, and it even involved embezzlement, a federal felony, punishable by time in federal prison. The room erupted. Colleagues murmured among themselves, their eyes full of contempt and shock, as if looking at someone on death row.
Oh my God, she's got some guts.
So stupid. Now look, no way out.
Richard was so furious his face turned purple. He violently threw the phone to the ground. It was the latest model he just bought, its screen shattering instantly. The crisp cracking sound was like a death knell tolling for Susan.
Restrain her! Orders to step in immediately! Investigate! Go through everything! Security, guard the doors. No one is allowed to leave.
Several security guards rushed in, grabbing Susan from both sides in swift.
I'm innocent. Brandon Hale is lying. He's framing me.
Unfortunately, no one believed a word she said anymore. Everyone was watching the spectacle, some even pulling out their phones to record video to post on Twitter. Colleagues no longer felt any sympathy. They took out their phones and snapped photos, flashes going off nonstop, freezing her disgraceful state in time forever. Messages flew through the Slack channel in a frenzy. The captions all eerily uniform. Karma's a bitch. Greed always collects its debt. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The audit results came back on the spot with terrifying efficiency. Within half an hour, even her previously faked Uber receipts were dug up. The same screenshot submitted over a dozen times, without even changing the timestamps. Not only had Susan faked the project, she had also embezzled over $60,000 through fraudulent expense reports. Even her regular lunch reimbursements were faked. The same restaurant receipt submitted over a dozen times, with only the date altered. Richard's hands were shaking as he read the audit report. The general counsel pulled out the Project Apex Technical Ownership and Accountability Agreement with a deadpan expression, pushing up his gold-rimmed glasses, his gaze cold.
According to the terms, Ms. Myers is liable for all economic losses caused by the project. This is your own signature, including the client's liquidated damages, the company's reputational damages, and project R&D costs, totaling $750,000. If you are unable to repay, we will apply to freeze all assets under your name and pursue criminal liability.
$750,000. Upon hearing that number, Susan's eyes rolled back as she collapsed to the ground as if her soul had been sucked out of her, reduced to a puddle of mud. Her brand new Porsche Taycan barely broken in, and that Hermes Birkin bag instantly repossessed. Too bad, the car was bought on a loan, and the bag was secondhand. Practically worthless, not even enough to cover the interest. Sobbing, she crawled to Richard's feet, clutching his leg and pleading, wiping her snot and tears all over his tailored designer trousers.
Richard, I was wrong. Please let me go. I'll return all the money. I'll do anything for you from now on. Please don't call the police. Ah! I'll lose everything. Please just give me one more chance.
Richard kicked her away in disgust, as if he were kicking aside a bag of rotting garbage. He turned away coldly, not even sparing her a glance.
Go explain yourself to the FBI. We don't pay dead boat.
Sirens wailed downstairs, red and blue lights flashing, piercing through the daytime noise. The FBI was here, on charges of embezzlement and wire fraud. They placed handcuffs on Susan. That crisp click sound was the most beautiful music to my ears. In that moment, the light in her eyes went out completely, leaving only endless fear and despair. As a former core employee, I was personally called by Richard and asked to return and assist with the investigation. When I walked into the company, I was treated like a hero. The receptionist smiled and proactively pressed the elevator button for me. Colleagues passing by all addressed me as Mr. Hale. Richard shook my hand, his face full of guilt, and even insisted on personally pouring me a cup of coffee.
Brandon, I was wrong about you. I completely misjudged you. This company can't function without you. You've been treated unfairly.
I've already had Susan's office cleared out. It's yours from now on. If you need anything else added, just let me know. Salary doubled, full equity grant. As long as you're willing to come back, the platform engineering department is yours to run.
I watched as the FBI led Susan into the vehicle. She looked back once, her eyes full of remorse and jealousy, the tears having washed her false eyelashes right off. I waved at her, a faint smile curling at the corner of my mouth, not a trace of pity in my eyes. You brought all of this on yourself. Enjoy making those license plates, Susan. News of Susan's imprisonment spread throughout the entire industry. It became the biggest scandal. Even recruiters blacklisted her. In the industry, she had become completely toxic waste. That Project Apex, she was once so proud of, had become the industry's laughingstock. Water cooler talk, with everyone using her as a cautionary tale. And me, I took back over the company's operations. Using the real core code I held, I fixed the system within 3 days, passed the stress test, and the performance scores were double what they were before. Watching those garbled codes get sorted out line by line under my hands, that sense of control was more satisfying than anything. Whitford Capital not only renewed the contract, but also increased the budget, specifically requesting that I be in charge long-term. David Kessler even sent me a private email asking if I'd consider jumping ship to their side, offering an astronomical salary. Those colleagues who used to mock me were now lining up every day to bring me coffee.
Mr. Hale, here's the iced Americano you love. Light ice, no sugar. I specifically ran 2 blocks to get it for you.
Mr. Hale, Susan's old desk had bad feng shui. A bad layout. I've rearranged it for you. Adjusted the layout.
Looking at their fawning faces, all I could do was laugh. This was human nature. They side with whoever's winning. Terrifyingly realistic. I sat in my spacious, bright private office, sitting in the same ergonomic chair Susan used to use. The genuine leather did feel pretty nice. I locked the new Project Apex ownership agreement in the safe. This time, only my name was on it. No one could ever take it away again. Susan didn't stay quiet even after going inside. Through her lawyer, she contacted a gossip outlet in the tech world and published a lengthy article, painting herself as a victim of Silicon Valley's misogyny culture, claiming she had been set up, that she had written Project Apex's code all along, and that the company's internal brotherhood had conspired to sabotage her to steal credit. The article was retweeted thousands of times on Twitter, the comments section exploding into chaos. Some were calling to cancel Novatech, while others dug up her court records and debunked every single claim. Her lawyer also posted a lengthy article on LinkedIn, going on about workplace age discrimination and the unfair treatment of female executives, trying to muddy the waters and pressure the prosecutors. I watched those retweets and comments and didn't reply with a single word. 3 days later, an anonymous account on a developer forum posted a lengthy thread, making public all of Susan's code commit records, the fake invoices from the shell vendor, and that recording of her saying the boss doesn't understand it anyway, a clear timeline, a complete chain of evidence. Public opinion flipped in an instant. That gossip outlet quietly deleted the article. Susan's lawyer also took down the LinkedIn post. The tone in the comment section took a sharp turn.
She had the audacity to play the victim? Get sent.
Imagine faking invoices, getting caught, then crying sexism. Embarrassing.
I closed the browser and continued writing my code. I'm no saint, and I don't want to hear belated apologies. Forgiveness is above my pay grade. While tidying up, I spotted the Hermes Birkin bag Susan had left behind in the corner. Upon inspection, it was a fake from Canal Street. Not even a good knockoff, the kind you find on a street stall for a few dozen bucks, with loose threads sticking out. Just like her fake persona, all shine on the surface, hollow inside. Just like that fake Birkin's leather. One scratch and the whole illusion falls apart. I picked up the bag and tossed it straight into the trash without a second thought. The trash can clank shut, like finally closing the cover on a terrible book and turning to the very last page.
Disgusting to look at, just like its owner.
Watching the traffic flowing outside the window, the city's neon lights flickering on, I took a sip of hot coffee. An incomparable calm filled my heart. The corporate world doesn't care about your tears. And stolen credit? It always comes due. What goes around comes around. You sign it. You live with it. For life. Hope she figures that out while she's making license plates in federal prison. I turned around and dove back into the new code. The cursor blinked on the screen, line after line of code flowing out. Mine. Something no one could ever take away.